Achieve real results for your clients with the help of the new Truth 360 app, brought to you by Truth Treatment Systems. The Truth 360 app makes client at-home care recommendations easy and features a customizable storefront to make at-home care recommendations and purchases simple. No big opening orders required. Plus, get access to advanced skincare education developed by Benjamin Knight Fuchs, professional discounts on products, and earned up to 30% commission on all products sold through your Truth 360 app storefront. Visit truthtreatmentspro.com or download the Truth 360 app from your phone's app store. ASCP members, log on to ascpskincare.com now to access your limited time discount code.
You are listening to ASCP Esty Talk, where we share insider tips, industry resources, and education for estheticians at every stage of the journey. Let's talk, because ASCP knows it's all about you.
Hello, and welcome to ASCP Esty Talk. I'm Ella Cressman, licensed esthetician, certified organic skincare formulator, and content contributor for Associated Skincare Professionals. And today, my co-host Maggie is out, but I'm once again joined by Tracy. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, guys. I'm Tracy Donnelly, the Executive Director of Associated Skincare Professionals, and I really hope I can sort of fill Maggie's big shoes.
Big shoes.
Big shoes to fill.
Absolutely. So today I want to talk about something, it's kind of cool. It's going to be a very interesting topic because it's, I don't know, it's kind of weird to talk about at all.
Oh, yeah.
So let's start with, recently there was this conference of sorts. It was called MECCA, which stands for...
That sounds fun. I like MECCA.
And it stands for Men's Estheticians Conference and Associates. And it was held in Phoenix, Arizona.
Ooh, intriguing. Tell me more.
I know. I thought it was interesting. It was really put together by this gentleman, Moto Kinjo, from now Arizona, but he's of Japanese descent. And he is the sweetest guy. I got to tell you, he reached out to me on social media and invited me. I couldn't attend because my schedule wouldn't allow, but I just thought it was very interesting. So I did watch the conference.
And he's an esthetician?
He's an esthetician.
Oh, I love this.
He's so much more than an esthetician.
Oh, so
check
cool.
this out.
Okay.
So he's been licensed for 2.5 years. He and his partner own a salon in Phoenix, Arizona. He is going back to school to get his cosmetology license. And he said, I just want to learn everything. I want to learn every part of the business that we own. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. So what he's been doing in those 2.5 years is he's been going to different conventions. He's been going to NAS and Pro, the IECSC, all the trade shows. And what he noticed was mostly the attendees and the exhibitors were female. And
yeah,
he would
that's
see,
true.
Yeah, he would see maybe 1 or 2 male estheticians there, if any.
If any, because a lot of the times, if you were seeing men there, they're typically working for the skincare manufacturers, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's an important point.
Ooh.
An expert, right? So this is the cute part, or I shouldn't say cute, but it was an endearing story to me. I called him after the conference. I said, how'd it go? He said, oh, it was so nice. It was very well received. And honestly, I had feedback from other colleagues who went and they said, oh, it was a really good conference. And, I said, I called to congratulate him and ask him how it went and will he be doing it next year? And then I asked him, I said, what made you want to do this?
Yeah.
And he said years ago when he came from, his background is in an international tax manager.
Boring.
It goes further boring.
Oh, gosh.
For multinational corporations. I'm like, that is a mouthful. But what he said he noticed is with his... in his work environment, of course, male dominant, and he had witnessed or was aware of the female coworkers kind of gathering together to strengthen numbers, so to speak.
Okay.
So, and they would get together and they would advocate for each other for workplace concerns.
I'd love to think that is always true, but keep on keeping on.
And it hit me, like it made sense to me because as you know, I come from industrial construction.
Oh, I know. I've worked my construction in the day too.
Right. In the male dominant industry.
Yeah.
So we are very well aware that when you're in these type of industries that camaraderie and this team us, is important. So he had that in the back of his mind. And the way he tells the story is very, it made me laugh. I was like, oh,
okay.
that's funny.
You're putting me on the edge of my seat, Ella. Tell me.
So when he got into aesthetics, and he remembered that part, when he's in aesthetics and he's at these conferences, and he thought, this is how they felt.
Oh, I love it. He had an aha moment.
Yeah.
Those are always they make the biggest impact, right? In your life, you'll never forget it.
Yes. And that's what he said, it came to him. So he also really, with a name like Mecca, right? Men's Estheticians Conference. But the most important word to him, and he kept saying it to me over and over during our phone call, was, and associates. He said he wanted to make sure that I understood that it was important to him. He named it that way so that male practitioners would be drawn to these type of shows, because he didn't feel like there was a pull to the other.
But he didn't want to exclude and make people feel like it's a boys club, right?
And associates.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, no, it's great. And I love the name Mecca, because when you start to think of the word Mecca, you think so much about like, oh, this is our place. This is our Mecca. This is like, I think that's cool. I love it.
It was really cool. And he kept saying over and over again that, we want to make sure we appreciate the female estheticians, but just like the nursing industry, changing the narrative of this female dominant industry.
Oh, that's such a good parallel to draw. Oh, I love that one. Yeah, nursing industry.
To take it away from being feminine.
Gender specific.
This taken away from being feminine, this nurturing role, into like non-gender specific, like you said.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very interesting and ambitious. Here's this guy, right? Everybody listen. Male estheticians, female estheticians. Hear this. Here is this person who is licensed for 2.5 years, who is doing huge things. And I think that is, there's like a surgence of popularity of it as an option, of being
for
an esthetician as an option. Not of just being an esthetician, but going to an esthetician.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. You mean consumers actually seeing the value of it's not just a fluffy thing. It's actually like as valuable as going to see your therapist or your doctor.
Because we've had estheticians since the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Right, but that's so young compared to like,
but
the big picture.
But back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was luxury.
It was so luxury.
It was luxury. So you couldn't, it wasn't fathomable. It was something you saw people do, breakfast at Tiffany's, or, like in the movies they were the rich people that were at the spa, and you're interrupting my spa hour. But it wasn't seen as it is now.
Like a necessity.
As a part of self-care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, COVID. Just kidding. Okay.
Absolutely. So back to Mozo Kinjo, what he wanted to do. I asked him, why did you want to come up with this event too? And he said that he wants to make sure that there is support, a network for people to inspire each other. And he was important to him that people see each other as not as competition, but as complementation. That's my word, but that's what I
okay, I thought that you were saying that. And he didn't coin it. You did. Okay.
Together we can grow even better by supporting each other. So that was really cool. All nice, great, fluffy. So I asked him, are you going to do it again next year? So mark your calendars, everyone. Male estheticians and associates. At the end of April, they will be doing it again. But
question. Can I have one question? So was there sponsors of the show? Did they have product lines and skincare manufacturers present there that had specific men's lines, or was it not targeting the men and user, but more about celebrating the male esthetician?
It was all about the male practitioner.
Okay, got it.
So it was like a trade show.
Okay.
There were sponsors. Mm-hmm. There were product lines there as like booths, so to speak, or tables. I think it was more that size. They had panels. They had education.
I love it.
And I think I'm
going next year.
I think it was a smaller trade show, but I think that it definitely has the opportunity. I mean, come on. He did it in months. Like it took him months. And you know what it's like to deal with trade shows.
Oh my goodness.
It's like a year or longer, you know? So I think what he did was really amazing. And I think more importantly, it was the spirit behind it, right? So it got me thinking about the male practitioner.
Hey guys, stop. Let's take a quick break.
Ellie Bana, Australian-born, globally loved. Elibana's story is simple. They love lashes and brows. They shoot for the stars and lift lashes to new heights. Their addiction is real, their passion is popping, and there is nothing more they crave than offering excellence, service, and innovation in products. Elibana Lash Lift allows you to offer your customers luscious, lifted lashes that can last up to 12 weeks in one safe, 20-minute treatment. Learn more at elibana-usa.com.
Let's get back to the conversation.
Something that happens to me a lot is, you guys know that I run that group of estheticians on Facebook.
Colorado estheticians.
There's about 5,000. Oh, there's about 6,000 now. And the one thing that chaps my hide more than anything is when I see posts that say, "Hey ladies, I just have a quick question," or "Hey girls."
Yes.
And I think I'm quick to correct. Like, I've done a lot of posts. Hey, we're ladies and gentlemen and everyone else. So can we just say, "Hey guys," or whatever, But it happens over and over. And I think it's because this deep impression that this is a female industry.
I know. It's so hard. I mean, we could go down a rabbit hole of just all those generalizations. It's challenging, but if we can change just this one, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. But it got me thinking about the fact that this men is newer, but it's not 2.5 years ago new.
Right.
There's been
true.
Men in the industry for a long time.
Yeah.
So I talked to a couple of my friends and colleagues. So I talked to Michael Moore, who has been an esthetician for a long time.
Well, and if you don't know Michael Moore, I'm shocked. Right.
And then I talked to Dylan Magnuson, who was my intern who ended up working for me.
And actually, side note, we'll put it in the show notes. I interviewed him for one of our very first Esty Talks back in the day. So
The Male Perspective.
The Male Perspective.
Oh,
yeah.
good
So
one.
check that out. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a good one. It was the summer of 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, check it out earlier. Oh, it's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So Dylan Magnuson worked for me. And then I did also reach out to David Wagner, who is also an ASCP contributor too. And he's got a long time in the industry. So I asked a couple questions.
I'm dying to hear.
Here we go.
Let's go.
So I started with Michael. And I have a funny story about
Oh boy, of course
Michael.
you do. Michael.
So Michael, I asked him, do you think male practitioners face unique industry challenges that are different from your female counterparts? And he said, most definitely. Of course he would. But first of all, he said, this is verbatim. First of all, I think that they're not trusted in some ways. In other ways, they put themselves in authoritative roles. Without knowing who I am, or if anyone or anyone who knows anything about me, people trust the advice that I give because I'm a male. But in the treatment room, it could be very much the opposite, especially for waxing or spray tanning.
Oh, I'm sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite stories about Michael is I worked with him down at his studio in Cherry Creek, and we worked side by side doing makeup. Granted, I had done makeup for a long time. And not as long as him because he's way older than me.
Did you hear that, Michael?
But it was funny because we would do these makeup lessons and makeup applications, and these women would sit in my chair and go, "Are you sure that's the bronzer I should be wearing?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm sure." They're like, "Can you check with Michael?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll check with Michael."
Did you love that?
No, I was
know.
biting my tongue and I was saying a lot of cuss words under my breath. Like, "Sure, no problem. Excuse me, Michael, did you mind giving your opinion on this bronzer?" She'd come over and sure enough, he'd pick the bronzer I picked or the eyeshadow I picked or whatever. But something in these women did not trust the fact that I could pick out a bronzer or eyeshadow or where I was putting it, right? And the same with skincare. Like, I know skincare inside out. They would trust what he would say. They would question what I would say. I'd give them a routine, and then they would go check with him. "Is this what you would tell me to use?" Okay, no problem. So it took a lot for me to be let that roll off, right?
Yeah.
But I was talking to my friend Cherie Tennessee about it. I said, "This is the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest observation that I've noticed. That this is what happens." And she said, "That's because we as women don't trust ourselves."
Well, okay. I don't know that I really believe that, because I understand that the consumer is saying, I don't trust myself, right? But why is she not trusting you?
Because she sees herself in me.
Okay.
So because she sees herself in me, she doesn't trust me.
So I guess my question then is, he didn't really have to overcome this then in the treatment room.
He doesn't have to overcome this at all. So he can sell retail to anybody. But when it comes to treatment room, as far as like the other parts,
like doing a facial.
More like spray tanning and waxing, for example.
Okay, waxing.
Anything that was perceivably like more intimate and more vulnerable. Well, for me, not wearing mascara is extremely vulnerable.
I know how you are. Yeah, yes, for sure. So really quick, before we even get off the Michael Moore aspect, I do want to just tell everybody who's listening who happens to be an ASCP member that Michael Moore, if you don't know who he has done a series of really amazing technique videos for our members. So you can just go into the on-demand video library and check out all of his technique videos. They're fantastic. Sorry for that little PSA.
So then I talked to David Wagner. Now he's been in the business for a long time.
And he's a great educator. I mean, our members love him.
Absolutely.
He's fantastic.
He's fantastic. So I asked him what made him want to be an esthetician in the first place.
Ooh. And how long has he been an esthetician for? Do you know?
30 years.
Wow.
He's been in the business 30 years.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he has education background.
Oh, that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so we talked about a lot of different things, and I asked him why he wanted to become an esthetician, and he said because he saw a niche that no one else had.
He's so smart.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
So smart.
So back years and years ago, he saw an opportunity to come in, and the road that he took was different. It wasn't, he ended up working with a lot of lines, well-known lines, and becoming an educator as well. So that would make sense, different from a practitioner, so different obstacles to overcome. But I did ask him, what changes do you see in the next 5 years concerning male practitioners in the industry? And he had a very good point.
Okay.
He said languaging will become more inclusive. And I was like, ooh, yep, I agree. So it's not going to be...
she did this in her product line and her practice and...
Possibly a more androgynous look to marketing spiels and packaging too.
Oh, for sure.
So less feminine, less rose gold and matte pink. And, I'm thinking of Kylie Cosmetics.
Are you thinking like ASCP, take note, get androgynous? Well, I mean, I think we're on a rebrand mission right now, but I think if you look at our site right now, what is it?
Pink and black.
Fuchsia in your face, black and white, right? Mm-hmm. And so... not that pink is not masculine. Pink's masculine. But you know what I'm saying.
The inference.
Yeah.
So he said, I think as the industry evolves, more men will come into the skincare industry. So I think we've got to be prepared for that. He said there will be growth within the men's market. And he said men are becoming more of a savvy customer, just like we were talking about. He said they research before they buy, and they're very loyal clients, which has been my experience.
I just want to say, holla. I mean, literally loyal. I talk to waxers all the time who say that they've had the same male clients for like 25 years.
And that's been my experience too. And they're very compliant. They listen. They do what you're told. They come back when you tell them. They buy what you need them to buy. Their dreams.
Why can't all husbands be like that? I don't know. I digress.
He also said, and this is a really good point that he said the guys, the men that are in this industry now will be considered pioneers.
Mm. So jump in.
So if you're a male practitioner, kudos.
Yeah. Celebrating you. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. So why do you think, Tracy, why do you think that women, do you think women trust advice of men more than women?
That's challenging question. I think sometimes it depends on the topic that it's about, but I'll tell you what, show me a good male esthetician. I'll sign up right now. I have no problems whatsoever. Actually, sounds quite lovely.
And what do you think about changing the language when dealing with our male counterparts?
Oh, I think that's a must. I don't want to be part of that industry who's last to get on board with it. I think we should all get on board. We should have been on board with it years ago,
I think so too. And I think for me, it feels like, why aren't we there yet?
Yeah.
Why are we still
like, it's kind of like,
leaning to the leaning to the frilly, the pampering. I think that the verbiage will change. And I think it's changing too, that we won't have like marketing about pamper yourself and feel this luxury. I think that will be, some people will stick with that, but I think we might move away from that and more to other things. And I think we've seen that, right?
Yeah. And I think, you know what? Everybody should find, we talked about niche, right? You just mentioned this was a niche and you saw an opportunity. I mean, everyone should define their niche. You should really always find your niche, meaning like maybe you are just luxury and pampering, but maybe you're more clinical, or maybe you're results driven, or maybe, you know, it's a whole wellness that you're providing. So I would just encourage everybody to just keep being true to who they are and to keep defining their niche, whatever that is.
I love that advice.
Yeah.
That's the advice I give to people too. Like, what is your passion? And then what is your skincare philosophy?
Yeah.
Because if your philosophy is about providing relaxation, then maybe not dermaplane or chemical peels.
Right.
But, or if you like meticulous attention to detail, lashing might be your game versus a massage.
Yeah. Don't be who you're not, right? Don't force it. Just go with the flow.
It's so interesting because our industry is so broad.
Oh, that's what makes it the best. There's something in there for everybody. There really is.
Yeah. Now, listeners, we really want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on male aesthetic practitioners? What challenges do you see they will face, and how can they overcome them? Let us know. Reach out on our social media platforms, especially Instagram and Facebook, or by emailing getconnected@ascpskincare.com. We want to know all the details. In the meantime, thank you for listening to ASCP Esty Talk. For more information on this episode, or for ways to connect with Maggie or myself, or to learn more about ASCP, check out the show notes. And stay tuned for the next episode of ASCP Esty Talk.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like what you hear and you want more, subscribe. If you want to belong to the only all-inclusive association for estheticians that includes professional liability insurance, education, industry insights, and an opportunity to spotlight your 6 skills, join at ascpskincare.com. Only $259 per year for all this goodness. ASCP knows it's all about you.